Hyundai Elantra N. Not the quickest, definitely not the prettiest, but it might be one of the best cars for around $35,000 if you're looking for a performance sedan. Now, in this video, I'll talk exactly what this thing is from a technical standpoint, how I feel about the interior space, and what it's like to drive it on our favorite back road. So let's get started. So I think it's safe to say that Hyundai redefined the meaning of cheap performance with the Elantra N. I mean, this thing starts at around $34,000, which is $10,000 less than Civic Type R, Golf R, WRX TS, or a GR Corolla, and don't look at it as a cheap discount product. It's actually a pretty impressive vehicle, and we're gonna get to that in the driving impressions. First, let's talk about what this thing is from a technical standpoint, starting with the engine. So, under the hood sits a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, which makes 276 horsepower, 286 in boost mode, and 289 pound-feet of torque. We can choose between a 6-speed manual gearbox or an 8-speed wet clutch DCT, and both units put the power down via an e-LSD. Now, besides a pretty powerful motor, Hyundai's N division also made changes to the suspension, braking system, steering, and aerodynamics. As of suspension, we have a reinforced strut front suspension and a multilink setup in the back, combined with adaptive dampers, which actually work pretty effectively, and there's a noticeable difference in damping between the modes. We get upgraded brakes with 4-piston front calipers, revised electric power steering for better inputs and feedback, and improved aerodynamics to mainly reduce lift. I mean, let's face the truth, this thing doesn't generate any downforce. Now, as I said in the beginning, one of the biggest selling points of this car is how much it costs. Pricing starts at around $34,000, and the only option you can get is the blue paint that our tester has and a DCT, and that will make the car cost $36,000. Now, before we talk what it's like to drive this thing on our favorite back road, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space. Okay, so we're inside the Elantra N. Now, the cabin doesn't differ much compared to the regular Elantra, and that's a good starting point. We have a good amount of physical controls for things that we use pretty frequently and require easy access, and from ergonomic standpoint, there is nothing for me to complain about. The design is nice and simple, and while the quality isn't at the level of a Volkswagen Golf, everything is well put together, all the touch points are soft where it matters, and there are even some unique accents to the N version. Now, typically for Hyundai, the technology implementation is great. The infotainment system has a super friendly interface, and despite a lot of options and menus, everything is largely structured, and figuring things out should take you no time. We also get a dedicated N app, which allows you to customize the car's characteristics and includes things like a lap timer or basic telemetry. The digital gauge cluster is also great, highly customizable, allowing you to change the design of the gauges, and provides all the information about the vehicle you need, such as a trip computer or driving assistant information. So again, well thought out and designed. Now, the usability. At the end of the day, this is an Elantra, so the storage in the center console and under the armrest are pretty good. I can't really complain about the door pockets either, and the trunk is massive for a compact sedan. There is a strut brace, but you can get around it and still fold down your seats. Now, the buckets up front are pretty good, and they hold you well and are relatively comfortable. They're manually adjusted, as they should be in a performance vehicle, but I wish I could sit a little bit lower. Now, moving to the back, no complaints there either. 2 adults will fit there without any issues, as will a car seat. And again, from a practical standpoint, this thing makes a great daily. Now, the question is, what it's like to drive the Elantra N? Well, let's head to our favorite back road and find out. Okay, so we're behind the wheel of the Elantra N. Believe it or not, this is my first time behind the wheel of the Elantra N. Haven't had a chance to drive it before. I drove all of its competitors, GR Corolla, WRX TS, Golf R, Golf GTI, and the Civic Type R, Integra Type S Duo. So let's see how this thing does on our favorite back road. We can put it into the custom mode that I have pre-programmed. It's gonna disable ESC, so we have to hold the button to confirm it. We have our engine, steering, suspension, transmission, and most aggressive modes. e-LSD is in sport, ESC again is disabled, exhaust sound in sport. We can use the NGS mode to get a little bit of extra power, and wow, this thing flies. Let's put the transmission into manual. It's amazing how quick this thing is and how well this exhaust is tuned. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect it to be that great to me for all those years, the K20 from the Type R and the Integra Type S was that benchmark in the segment of hot hatches, hot performance compact cars, but this one is very close. We have an 8-speed dual clutch transmission on board, which is also super quick and responsive, quick to downshift, quick to upshift. It does it very smoothly yet sharply, and I cannot really complain about the powertrain of the Elantra, and I'm truly impressed. But what I really care about in cars is handling, so let's see how the Elantra N handles. First of all, the car is really willing to rotate under braking, under acceleration. It feels very nimble. The front end maybe doesn't feel as nice and as stable as it does in the Civic Type R, but the e-LSD that the Elantra N has does a very good job putting down the power. It's crazy how I can just fly through those corners, and at the same time the car is super stable. It is very predictable, and also the brakes are fine. If I was to autocross or track this car, I would probably get more aggressive pads, but what we get out of the box is pretty good. Wow. All right, on the N division, you guys impressed me and did an amazing job with the Elantra N. The steering maybe doesn't give us plenty of feedback, but there's a little bit of that, and we do have an idea of what road surface we're traveling on or what's happening with the front axle. Alrighty, let's just take the section of those turns faster, and we'll talk about what it's like to drive the Elantra N on a daily basis. I mean, this thing beautifully listens to all of your inputs. Throttle mapping, brake calibration, steering calibration, they're all great. And for the money, I think this is the most impressive car I've driven at least this year, if not the past couple of years. Alrighty, let's go into the normal driving mode, put the transmission into drive, and talk about what it's like to live with the Elantra N on a daily basis. It's also a great daily. The engine has just enough power and torque to get you going. It delivers power very smoothly and nicely. Also, the DCT works very smoothly. There is no jerkiness that you typically associate with dual clutch transmissions. It's basically as good as DSG and Volkswagen Group. I like it more than what BMW puts in their front-wheel drive based cars. It's much better. There's no torque dips between the shifts. The car gets off the line pretty quickly, and again, smoothly. No jerkiness. Multi-clutch transmission that Mercedes puts in their AMG cars is the worst. This is far, far better. Also, ride quality is not punishing. You know what, you drive a stiffer car. At the end of the day, it is a performance, compact sedan, but it absorbs road imperfections very nicely. There is an increased road noise if you compare it to your regular Elantra, but that's totally fine. I can live with that. Wind noise levels aren't bad whatsoever. So again, there's nothing really bad I can say about this car, maybe besides the fact that we don't get adaptive cruise control. We do get lane keeping assist, steering assist, but no adaptive cruise control. I don't understand why Hyundai didn't include it, especially considering that they have that technology and they put it in Elantra or Kia K4 as standard. But it is what it is. I can live without it. It's not a deal breaker. Something that's gonna make me not want this car. You know what? Let's just maybe go back to custom one mode and just have a little bit more fun for a second. Alrighty, manual mode, couple of downshifts, and green shift. Oh, I mean, it's insane how crazy you can go through those corners. Like I said, the biggest surprise of 2025 for me by far. I knew this thing was good. I heard good things about it, but I'm always skeptical. I always have to experience the car, and the Elantra N didn't disappoint me. Alrighty guys, let's get into the final thoughts and summarize this thing, and I'm gonna have a little bit more fun. Okay, it's time to sum up the Hyundai Elantra N. I mean, who would have thought that one of the best performance cars comes from Hyundai and costs a little over $35,000? Seriously, when I first got this thing, I was a little bit skeptical and I didn't get all the hype about it, but it proved me wrong. It's great as a daily. It's practical, comfortable, has just enough power, and you can use it as a father or a mother and put the stroller in the back. Seriously, it's a really usable vehicle. Now, on the weekend, you can take it to autocross, your favorite back road, and you will have plenty of fun behind the wheel. It really feels mechanical, it nicely rotates, it handles great. The 8-speed dual clutch transmission is actually better than what BMW puts in their new front-wheel drive based vehicles, and I really have nothing to complain about this thing. I don't like the design, but once I start driving it, I forget about it, and probably you will too. Anyways, if you guys have any questions about this thing, drop a comment and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.